Yuletide Zingle by Jason Sullivan.
The Errychris were short, pointy-eared planet fixers and cold weather lovers. No one knew how they came to love cold weather, except that they had very high body temperatures and this made them uncomfortable in the heat. They liked the cold so much that they would sleep under the stars and take baths, with lots of bubbles, in a one-horse soap and sleigh. They roamed the Milky Way looking for planets to fix, for this is what they had done for as long as anyone could remember. One day they came across a planet, third from its sun, which had tilted horribly onto its side. When they landed for a closer look, they found many frozen dinosaurs on one side of the planet and many cooked dinosaurs on the other. The Errychris felt sad but prepared to leave, when something furry darted between their legs. Life still graced the planet. However, if they did not fix the tilt quickly, the life would not last long. The Errychris stuck a large peppermint-striped pole into the ground. They would set up the spin around this pole and call it the North Pole. The Errychris also worked on adapting the trees. They had to transform the trees into jolly conductors. The trees needed to conduct an awful lot of jolly for the Errychris to prop up the planet so that it received just enough night in the summer to cool off, and just enough day in the winter to warm up. They began rigging the long tin sails. The tin sails caught electromagnetic waves from the sun, turning the trees into electromagnetic collectors. The Errychris made branch augmentations called ornamenteriological minter-phasiasticals. These little ornaments were where the hard science of planet tilting took place. The ornaments transformed the electromagnetic waves gathered by the tin sails into specific commands that adjusted gravitational fields, orbits and the like. At the top of the trees, the Errychris put beacons which, if shining, indicated that the jolly was flowing and everything was proceeding according to plan. They looked at the orbit of the planet on their Orbitron watches. The best time to fix the tilt by getting a good wish off was when the planet was very close to its sun. They needed some extra helpers for when the big moment arrived. They found a large green T-Rex, and an even bigger red Brontosaurus, and defrosted them. For the good of the planet, because they were dinosaurs of goodwill, the T-Rex said he would not eat Bronto, and Bronto said she would not stomp Rexy. Now there is another important part to this story. The Errychris had found this adorable man on a planet that they had tried to fix. He either did not have a name or could not remember it. It was too late for his planet because the burning of carbon-based fuel had ruined the atmosphere. Nevertheless, they could not leave this man because of a sanitation clause in their contract. The clause said they must remove people and things from dead planets. This latter part was especially difficult because the planet this sweet man came from contained tons of toys. What a headache for the Errychris. Being conscientious citizens of the Milky Way, they gathered up the multitudes of toys in a big bag. They also took the person who had not a name, but whom they referred to as the sanitation clause guy. Unfortunately, he was not fond of cold weather, which the Errychris loved, so he ate a lot in order to put on weight. He became quite fat on ho-ho-ho, which was what the Errychris ate. In fact, he was always asking the Errychris for more food. The Errychris joyfully prepared the planet, third from its sun, with green Rexy and red Bronto standing by, and with the sanitation clause guy hanging around saying, ho ho ho. He was hungry, as he always was when he was cold. They got ready to cast their wish toward the sun. At just the right moment, on a day when the planet was very close to its sun, the leader of the Errychris, named Am, cast a wish off toward the sun. A wish was like a big fishing line, except it was made for catching the sun instead of fish. The wish caught the sun, and the planet tilted ever so slightly. The entire group of Errychris, en masse, leaned to the left to add weight. They weighed little, but it moved the planet enough so that the tin sails collected the sun's electromagnetic waves. The tin sails directed the energy into the ornamenteriological minter-phasiasticals, lighting them with colorful sparkles until, after a bit of excited zingling, the jolly flowed up and through the tree, causing the beacon at the top to shine magnificently. The planet tilted significantly up and off its sideways axis, yet it was still not enough. A little more was needed. This was where the dinosaurs came in. The Errychris called out to the defrosted dinosaurs, lean to your left. Green Rexy and red Bronto leaned with their massive weight. With strenuous leaning, and a couple of thunderous dinosaur jumps, the most amazing thing happened. The angles started to sing. Not to worry, this was supposed to happen. When the planet reached its correct degree of inclination, the electromagnetic waves emitted by the sun caused the intersecting angles to sing. This singing indicated that the planet had achieved precisely the correct tilt. The angles then let loose a tide of jolly that saved the planet. The Errychris had done it again. They could not stay long, for they had more planets to help. It was then that it hit them. They could leave the toys under the trees and the sanitation clause guy along with them. After all, the animals on the planet seemed to like him. They asked him if this was okay, and he said, "Ho ho ho. Good enough," said the Errychris, and upon parting gave the sanitary clause guy one last task. "Oh yeah, and see if you can find something to do with all the toys." So at solstice time, to create a Yuletide that will preserve the correct tilt of the planet, people say, "We wish you a Errychris en masse," which over the years has turned into, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," because that describes how the planet was saved. Of course, ornamateriological minterfe asiasticals, or ornaments, became ornaments, and the tin sails on the trees have become known as tinsel. The red and green dinosaurs fell out of the tradition, but their colors are still the colors of the holiday. Stars represent the jolly beacons atop the trees, and someone misspelled angles, leaving us with angels. Of course, angels sing nicely, too. The sanitation clause guy fulfilled the request of the Errychris, and each year, when the planet passed close to the sun, he distributed toys from his long-forgotten planet to the animals on his new planet, which eventually evolved into boys and girls, and sometimes even into grown-ups. Finally, you guessed it, the sanitation clause guy we now call Santa Claus. Oh, and if you hear, "Ho ho ho," make sure you leave Santa some cookies.